Hi, this is Tim O'Rourke, and in this series I'm going to just hit record and recount some stories about espionage, spycraft, tradecraft, as it was relayed to me. Now, since the time I originally heard these stories from various people who have influenced my life today, I will admit I have gained further insight and heard different or variations of these stories, but often they are minor details, and in essence the stories remain intact for me. And since we are dealing with national security matters in some of these topics and stories, no one is going to come out of the woodwork and verify what truly happened anyway. So I'm comfortable with the versions that I'm going to be covering here. So let's go here. I am a child born in the 60s. You know, I grew up, and as many of us did, during what was known as the Cold War from 47 to 1991, which ended the Cold War because of the collapse of communism and the Soviet Union. But during World War II, America and the Soviets worked together with England to defeat Nazism and fascism in Germany in 1945. But a couple years after, we were taking our laps as the Allied forces, and on the surface, everything looked pretty good. However, Stalin wanted to keep tabs on his British and American friends, and he basically set his staff in motion to come up with some ways, and they did. And they created an old trick that is still used today with great effect. It involved these children. This is the Vladimir Lenin All-Union Pioneer Organization. They're school children. If you're in America, think Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts. And they were going to gift the U.S. ambassador to Moscow a wooden replica of the Great Seal of the United States. But within that gift, a listening device or bug was placed. This was very nice. Nice gesture, presented very well. Nobody gave it a thought. Nobody gave it a thought. This made its way throughout the embassy, the residence for the ambassador, and the brainchild of the device, and I'll show you a picture here, was Leon Thurman. And Leon created this while he was actually imprisoned by the Stalin's henchmen to come up with this. Now, Leon was a brilliant physicist and engineer. He had musical interests as well, and there is a Thurman machine, which is named after him, that most people, if you've ever watched Doctor Who or even just heard the music for it, that was from the machine that carries his name. That is the theme music. But he came up with this device, which from a TSCM point of view, I look at it and I go, this is pure brilliance, especially for 1946. But it speaks to his incredible intelligence in the design. This is a cavity resonator, okay? Now, there is no powering of this. There's no onboard powering. There's no battery, and it's not wired to anything, okay? There are transistors have not even been manufactured yet. Transistors were invented in 1946 at Bell Labs, all right? 1947, actually. So there's a lot of electronical stuff that could have been brought to put in here, but it would have been detected. So he created this, all right, because he knew he wanted something undetectable, or that was his marching orders anyway. And just to kind of give you an idea of how this worked, it did get power, but it got power from an external source. There would be a van, or the story goes, maybe it was a van, maybe they were in another building adjacent to the embassy, and they would focus and hit the embassy with microwaves. I want you to think about this as a tuning fork. It sits there and nothing happens. But the moment you strike it, you hear this noise off the tuning fork. Well, the same thing is going on here. Nobody can hear what's going on. It's not sending or receiving information, but the moment it is hit with microwaves, it's like a tuning fork getting struck. But the thing is everybody doesn't hear it. It is broadcast out, captured, and then turned into something that we can hear. Now, how this got captured was down the street, one of our UK friends were in an embassy, and they were just going through radio frequencies, and they heard distinctly American voices. That's Yanks. Who? What is that? Has to be the embassy. All right. And they let them know. They conducted sweeps. And again, the sweep gear back at the time could not pick this up. I'm not sure that a lot of sweep gear could pick this up. This is just one of those kinds of devices that is very, very rarely seen. And it is a testament. It has stood the test of time as probably one of the best bugging devices. But to get your hands on one, to even reproduce it, with all the diagrams and everything else, good luck. It's just not going to happen. Then you got to have a place to, conceal line of sight, and then send out microwaves to hit this. And you know what? Good luck with all of that too. Their plan, however, really, I got to hand it to the Russians. They really did a great job on this. Now, this was classified for a number of years and became unclassified in the 60s. And that was after the U-2 plane was shot down over Russia, and they captured our U-2 pilot. They were making a lot of hay and making a lot of accusations and claims about how, dirty and manipulating the West was. When, finally our ambassador got permission to bring this out, and here, you're going to show that, shortly after the World War, they were bugging their closest American ally in Moscow to see what was being said. Now, every conversation was being monitored. The ambassador in Moscow was constantly talking to the White House, so all those conversations, or a good many of them, were being heard. So very fascinating piece of history, very fascinating piece of tech. So that's going to wrap that up for the way I heard it. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll be producing some more here going forward. If you have any suggestions or desires to hear about something specific and I know about it, I would love to discuss it. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.